Two hands press a familiar face against the cold metal. A whisper. Check the badge in my pocket. The silence soon changes sides. The dawn is humid. The asphalt reflects the neon of a discreet bar, the kind of place where no one wants to be when the cars arrive. The rain falls in spaced drops, rhythmic like heartbeats that still do not understand what is going to happen. Two young police officers get out of the car, movements too fast for those who do not need to hurry. There is something of fear in every gesture. Not the fear of a suspect, but the fear of making a mistake when there are a lot of people watching. Security cameras flash red in the shadows. The cell phone of a third police officer is already in his hand, pointing. On the hood of the car, there is a man, robust, too quiet. The spinning light passes over his face in blue and red waves. Recognizable profile, not as someone who should be there, but as someone who was on movie screens. His face sculpted by age and action, eyes that already know silence before he arrives. Steven Seagal. But the police have not yet prosecuted this. The radio on his waist just scientized. An electronic voice reports another occurrence miles away. This incident, here on the wet asphalt, has no name yet. A hand's in sight, orders the older of the two, a voice too thin for someone who intends to sound in control. The man in the hood does not move. It's not a challenge, it's patience. The difference is everything. The rain continues to fall in spaced drops. The sound of cold metal against wet clothing echoes like a breath that is not his. The radio is again scientific. This time, no one answers. The street is watching in silence. The younger police officer shakes hands. The knuckles turn pale. He takes his cell phone out of his pocket. He wants to document. He wants to protect himself. He wants to create a narrative before it exists. But the gesture is too nervous. It is protection pretending to be procedure. "Do you know why you were stopped?" asks the older officer, his voice now a higher pitch, trying to regain weight in a place where the weight has changed hands. The man in the hood just breathes. The sound of the moving lung is louder than any word that could come after. The night still does not understand what will happen. But the rain already knows. The drops fall in anticipatory silence. Two worlds are about to meet. One that knows protocol, the other that knows truth. And the difference between the two is in a word that has not yet been spoken. The police, nervous, maintain protocol like someone holding a rope on a cliff. Legs apart, visible hands. Questions in an automatic tone, not because they demand answers, but because the manual demands them. Repetition kills fear. Full name? Seagal responds, that's all. No adjectives, no defense, no ego that can echo on the wet asphalt. The name falls like a stone in still water. The older policeman writes it down in the notepad. The paper is wet. The ink fogs up. Even so, he remains a scribe of an incident that still has no clear history. A third officer, who until now had been in the shadow of the vehicle, moves, not to search, to film. The cell phone comes out of his pocket with the naturalness of someone who had already planned this. The camera points to Seagal. The mental justification is security, but the sensory truth is another, spectacle. The light from the phone reflects off the rain. Small fake diamonds on a stage that did not ask for an audience. Seagal notices. His eyes move, not with anger, but with recognition. He's seen it before. You know what it means. When fear meets technology, documentation is born. And documentation, for some, is salvation. For others, it is public humiliation. "Were you involved in the fight at the bar?" asks the elder, trying to regain authority through the question. "I was firm when I needed to," Seagal replies, his voice too low for confrontation, too loud for submission. No one was injured. No one needed to be hurt. The younger policeman, the one with the pale knuckles, blinks. There's something about that answer that doesn't fit the script he memorized. It's not arrogance feigning humility. It's not humility feigning strength. It's just truth in breath form. The camera continues recording. Seagal looks directly into the lens of the phone. It does not confront. Just look. It is the look of someone who knows the difference between being seen and being understood. "What are you doing?" asks Seagal, a calm voice, directed at the third agent. "Security," the agent replies, but the word comes out faulty. Because security has no front camera. Security has a body camera. That's something else. The silence returns. The rain follows its rhythm. Footsteps are heard. Someone inside the bar, perhaps, cleaning up the shards of glass or honor that were left behind. The world goes on. But here, in this rectangle of asphalt under siren, time has been stuck. The older policeman lowers the notepad. His eyes meet those of the third agent. There's a wordless conversation there. Protocol versus zeal. Documentation versus judgment. The camera continues to record, and no one has yet said the word that will change everything. The air becomes denser. One of the policemen, the oldest, moves to search. The gesture is protocol, but the urgency is not. His hands search with the precision of someone who has done it 1,000 times, but this time there are witnesses. The camera follows. The rain watches. Seagal remains motionless against the hood. The metal is cold. His breathing doesn't change. It is not resignation. It's control. The younger policeman, the one with the pale fingers, approaches from the other side. There is something of anxiety in his movement. First week at night, perhaps, or first major shutdown in months. He touches Seagal's shoulder with the firmness that a lack of confidence requires. Legs farther apart, he orders. Seagal obeys, but the silence that comes with obedience is disturbing. It's not submission. It's pedagogy. He's showing something. The police still don't know what. The older policeman deepens the search. Pants pockets, jacket pockets. Each object is removed and examined as evidence of a crime that no one yet knows exactly what it is. A cell phone, a wallet, coins. Everything follows a silent protocol, and then the impact. The older officer pushes Seagal against with more force than protocol requires. It is not clear violence. It is violence that fits within the law because it does not leave a mark. The metal echoes. Sound travels down the damp street. In that exact second, Seagal says, "Low, contained, no drama. Check the badge in my pocket." The silence changes sides. The older cop freezes. His hands, which were in motion, are suspended in the air as if they had touched an invisible fire. The younger police officer inhales. The sound is audible even to the camera. The third agent stops recording. Just for a second. Then it continues. Because now you know that something important has just happened. "What?" asks the eldest, his voice thin, breaking. "Front left pocket," Seagal continues, the same calm. "Badge of an officer at honorum. Valid. Registered number. Everything in order." The older policeman takes a deep breath. His hands tremble, and he knows the camera is capturing every tremor. He reaches into the pocket with the slowness of someone who is opening a door that he would prefer to leave closed. His fingers touch the metal. The rain falls heavier now. Or maybe it's just the pressure of silence making everything feel heavier. The policeman removes the badge. She looks at it as if she had never seen one before. The number is there. The name is there. And the truth that accompanies it is irreversible. The radio reports an occurrence that no one attends. Because the most important occurrence just happened here. And no one knows how to proceed when they discover that they have pushed authority against cold metal. The badge sits between the older policeman's fingers as if burning. It does not burn. It just weighs. The metal is light, but what it represents now is mountains. He looks at his partner. The partner looks at him. The camera captures it all. The exchange of glances that contains shame, confusion, and the beginning of a story that no one planned to tell. "Check number," mutters the older one to the younger one, who is already fiddling with the radio with fingers that don't obey properly. The number is recited. Letters and digits travel through the humid air, through the siren, through the invisible circuits that connect this parking lot to a database that does not lie. The answer comes back too quickly. Confirmed, valid, official, Steven Seagal. The siren keeps spinning, but something has changed. Blue and red light now no longer defines suspect. It defines wandering. It defines people who crossed a line without seeing where it was. The younger policeman puts down the radio. Your hands are shaking, not out of fear, of discomfort. That discomfort that comes when you discover that the hands have complied with an order that the mind knows was wrong. "Sorry, sir," he begins to say. but the word comes out incomplete. Because "I'm sorry" is too small for the size of what was done. Seagal did not respond immediately. He just moves away from the hood, slowly, regaining the space that had been taken from him. The movement is pedagogical. No aggression, just precision. The older police officer still holds the badge. Your back is tense. He knows he's being seen, not just by colleagues, by camera, on the street that forgets nothing. Protocol asks you to check anyone, Seagal says, and there's something firm in his voice now. Not confrontation, but established truth. You complied. What got it wrong was the way. The third agent lowers his cell phone. Finally, the camera points to the ground. Because documenting this next part isn't security. It's shame on oneself. Rain falls on the asphalt and space drops. Each one sounds like remorse in a liquid state. The older police officer extends the badge back. His fingers still tremble. Seagal welcomes him, and the gesture is too kind for someone who has the right to be furious. It is the gesture of someone who knows that the real lesson is not made of anger, but of the silence that teaches. At that moment, everyone understands something that the police academy has never taught in the classroom. Authority does not come from the uniform, it comes from how you carry it, and the way you carry it changes everything, from the size of the siren to the depth of remorse. A black car arrives. It's not a vehicle, it is the command. A superior descends, lieutenant perhaps, or captain, the kind of face that has seen it all, so you don't have to feign surprise, just understanding. He recognizes Seagal before he even approaches, not cinema, of reports. From those internal documents that circulate between police stations, silent warnings about who should not be treated as a common suspect. What happened here exactly? Asks the superior, in a low voice, addressed to no one and everyone simultaneously. The older policeman opens his mouth. Nothing comes out, because to tell the truth is to acknowledge error. And to recognize the mistake in front of a superior is to leave a mark that does not leave the personal file. The younger police officer is also silent. His first night now has lead weight. The third agent, the one with the camera, just holds the cell phone to his chest, as if he could hide it there. Seagal answers for them, and the answer comes with brutal savings. I was firm when I needed to. You were more. There is no accusation in the sentence. There is no drama. Just moral geometry. 3 points that form a triangle. Action, reaction, consequence. Nothing more, nothing less. The superior closes his eyes for a second. Only one. Then he opens them and looks at each policeman, one at a time. His gaze doesn't say words, but the older police officer understands. The younger one understands. Even the third agent understands. They made a mistake that the camera recorded, that a badge has tasted, that the silence of a man who had every right to scream made inescapable. Report, says the superior to the elder. Complete, including initial excessive force and protocol adjustment in the field. The word excessive force falls like a stone. The older policeman swallows. His personal archive just received a note that will follow him for years. Additional training, supervision, possible suspension, all because he pushed a man harder than the law allows. The rain continues, but now it sounds different. Sounds like cleanliness. The superior turns to Seagal. I need your formal statement. And the agent's cell phone will be attached as evidence of the procedure. Not a spectacle. The third agent pales. His camera, the one that documented security, is now evidence of misconduct. The algorithm he thought protected him now exposes him. Seagal just waves. No drama, no performative revenge. The older policeman takes a deep breath. His fingers still feel the weight of the metal he shouldn't have pushed. His eyes still carry the image of a man who could have been furious but chose calm. And in that instant, that second of understanding, the older police officer understands that true authority does not come from those who can push. It comes from those who can choose not to fight back, even though they have the right. The silence returns, heavier, and within that silence, the lesson really begins. The superior moves away to make calls. protocols that need to be activated, documents that need to be filled out. The administrative machine began to turn, and now it moves by its own weight. Seagal stays there, on the still wet asphalt. Free, but no, because being right doesn't free you from being there. The badge is back in the pocket. Authority was restored, but the embarrassment of having to restore it remains like rain on clothes. The younger policeman, the one with the trembling fingers, is still standing. His eyes are fixed on an undefined point, as if he could see through the asphalt to see the report that is already being written about him. Seagal walks towards him. It just walks. No rush, no confrontation. "First week at night?" she asks, her voice so low that the rain almost drowns it out. The younger policeman blinks. The question is so unexpected, so human, that for a second he doesn't know how to answer. No one asked him if he was okay. No one asked if it was the first time. They just commanded, and he obeyed. "Yes," he murmurs, barely noticeable. Seagal just waves. And there's something about gesture that's not pity. It's recognition. It is the realization that this young boy, with his uniform still too young, with his hands still learning to obey, was just doing what he was trained to do. The problem was not obedience. He was the one who led. "Protocol matters," Seagal says. And his words come with the weight of someone who knows the difference between law and justice. But the mode matters more. You will learn this. It can take years, or you can learn now. The younger policeman looks up. There are tears there, not of fear, but of emotional confusion, of guilt that still has no form, only weight. "Sorry," he manages to say. "It's not me you need to apologize to," Seagal replies. "It's up to you, because you'll remember this night every time you search someone, and every time you remember, you will have the chance to do it differently." The rain falls softer now. Or maybe the gravity of the silence only feels heavier because there's truth within it. The older policeman watches from afar. He sees what's going on. It's not confrontation. It's education. It is someone who has every reason to destroy by choosing to build instead. The third agent holds the cell phone with two hands now, as if holding a confession of his own. Seagal puts his hand, just for a second, on the younger officer's shoulder. The gesture is so simple that it almost goes unnoticed. But within that touch there is everything. Forgiveness that was not asked, because the truth does not need to be asked. Understanding that error is human, and hope that this night will come learning, not resentment. The younger police officer takes a deep breath. Your fingers relax, just millimeters, but enough. And in that millimeter of relaxation, the transformation begins. The superior returns. Your voice is firm, but it's not anger. It's process. Each one will recount what happened. In a low voice, no cell phone, no camera, just true. The third agent lowers the phone. This time, he doesn't keep it in his pocket. He places it in the hand of the superior. It's delivery. It is a confession without words. The older cop starts. His narrative is too careful. Verbal protection. It talks about legitimate suspicion, security procedure, necessary force. The words come out as if building a defense, even though they know that the walls have already fallen. The younger police officer goes next. Your voice is more honest. Emotional, first night, nervous. We pushed more than we should. There is no subterfuge. Admission only. The third agent also speaks. I started recording because I was afraid. Not for safety. Out of fear. The confession is so simple that it almost hurts. Seagal listens to each one of them. Not with judgment. Carefully, as if to know that every word spoken is bricks being replaced in a building that collapsed. When everyone is done, there is a long silence. That silence that only exists when someone has finally stopped lying. The superior looks at Seagal. Your version. Seagal takes a deep breath, and then he speaks, not angrily, but accurately. I was at the bar. There was a fight. I intervened because no one else was going to intervene. No one was injured because I didn't let them. When I left, I was waiting to be approached, because the whole police station knows my face. It all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is how they approached it. Protocol is good, but you used it as a shield, and then as a weapon. His words do not accuse, Describe. It is the difference between judgment and truth. The older policeman lowers his head. The younger one closes his eyes. The third agent suddenly appears smaller. Protocol correction will be included in your report, says the superior. Additional training will be mandatory. And the cell phone will be analyzed as evidence of procedure. It will not be deleted. It will be archived. Because sometimes, the camera that you think protects you is the one that exposes you. Seagal moves, walks up to the younger policeman again. It shows how to search without humiliating, he says simply. The officer is confused for a second. But then you get it. It's not punishment. It is a learning experience in the field. Seagal extends his arms. I'm going to be a suspect. You will search. But this time, with respect. Firmly, yes, but respectful. And as the rain falls, the younger police officer learns, with his own hands, the difference between searching and humiliating, between protocol and inhumanity, between strength and true authority. The superior observes. The older officer watches. Even the third agent, without a camera, just watches. And at that moment, the lesson ceases to be theoretical. It becomes a method. The magazine ends. Not because you have found something, there is nothing to find, but because the lesson has been learned. The younger policeman's hands now know the difference. Your fingers know where the line is between safety and embarrassment. Seagal slowly walks away. No drama. Just a movement that reconquers space and dignity at the same time. He takes his own badge, the one that is still in his pocket, and takes it out. Look at it for a second. Only one. Then he replaces it, not with a gesture of authority, but with a gesture of responsibility. He walks to where the hood of the car is. There, in that cold metal, his face was pressed against excessive force. He puts his fingers in there, just his fingers, just for 2 seconds. It is a gesture of recognition, as a souvenir, a scar that will not disappear, but can become a learning experience. The older policeman sees it. He understands that this touch is a message addressed to him. It is not an accusation, it's truth taken literally. Seagal turns around. His eyes meet the younger policeman's again. It shows how to search without humiliating, he repeats, and this time it's not order. It's an invitation. The younger policeman approaches. This time, his movement is not nervous. It is didactic, pedagogic. Seagal positions himself, arms slightly apart, legs in a posture of collaboration, not resistance. You're going to play here, Seagal says, pointing to his shoulders. Not as a threat, as information. The ringing says, I'm here, I'm going to proceed, you'll be fine. The whole body is communication. The young policeman plays, and this time, the ringtone is different. Firm, yes, but loaded with respect. It is touch that protects rather than humiliates. Continue. Pockets, waist, ankles. Every movement is executed with precision and dignity. It is not a magazine. It is a dance of authority that recognizes humanity. The radio remains silent. The rain continues to fall. The siren continues to spin. But here, in this rectangle of asphalt, the weather has become different. When he finishes, Seagal straightens up. This is how you do it, he says, because you're going to search hundreds of people. And each one of them will feel in your skin if you believe they are human or if you believe they are criminals until you prove otherwise. The younger police officer just waves. There are no words that fit here. Just understanding. The superior approaches. The report will record that, he says to Seagal. Ad honorem officer collaboration in field procedure training. Excessive initial force. Fix implemented, documented learning. It's not victory. It is not defeat. It is a bureaucratic transformation of error into method. Seagal walks back to the side of the capo where it all began. But this time, he's not being pushed. He is choosing to be there. And the difference is everything. He puts his hand, just the recognition, on the cold metal one last time. Then he walks away. Slowly, as someone who leaves behind not anger, but responsibility. The street breathes. The superior returns to the vehicle. It documents everything, every word, every gesture, every moment when protocol was broken and then fixed. The third agent's cell phone is attached as evidence. Not a crime, of documented learning. The older police officer signs the report. His signature flutters, not of fear, but of understanding. Tonight, it will be in your archive, but not as a simple accusation, like complexity, as an error that turned into a method. Additional training will be mandatory, supervision will be increased, but there's something else here that transcends punishment. There's a silent promise that this next time will be different. The younger police officer also signs. Your signature is firmer than your partner's, because he's young enough to let tonight change him completely. Your fingers have already learned the right touch. Your heart has already accepted that firmness and respect are not contradictory. The third agent receives instructions. Your phone will be analyzed, but not destroyed. It will be archived, because sometimes the camera that you think protects you is the exact one that documents the truth. And true, when documented, it becomes a precedent. Seagal is ready to go. But first, something happens that no one planned. The younger police officer approaches. His eyes are teary, but not of weakness, of recognition. "Thank you," he murmurs. Just this, one word that contains everything. Gratitude for having been taught, rather than just punished. Understanding that this man who was pushed against the hood could have destroyed 3 careers with one call, but he chose to help and teach instead. Seagal puts his hand on the boy's shoulder. "Hold it there for a second. You'll remember this night. Every time you search someone, every time you use force, you will remember and you will choose better. That's what matters." The older officer watches, and there's something about his face that's changed. Not performative remorse, but genuine understanding that true authority isn't imposing will. It is teaching by example. The top returns with the final report. It's registered. Excessive initial force. Protocol training in the field with an ad honorem officer. Adjustment implemented. Documented learning. It is not absolution. It is not a condemnation. It is an admission that sometimes the system fails, but when it fails in front of those who know what true strength is, failure becomes a lesson. Seagal walks towards the street. The rain continues to fall. The siren continues to blink, but more slowly now, not as a threat, but as a protocol closure. Before disappearing into the humid night, he turns around one last time. His eyes meet those of the younger policeman. Just a nod. That kind of nod that says, "You're going to be fine," and more importantly, "You will do good." The night swallows him. But what was left behind, the silence, the lesson, the transformation, remains. And within each of those men in uniform, a new truth was planted. Weeks later, same city, another dawn. A suspect is approached on another street. Dark clothes, nervous behavior. Everything that fulfills the investigation required checklist. 2 police officers, not the same, but trained at the same academy, get out of the vehicle. The procedure begins. But there's something different in the air. The hands that touch do not humiliate. The tone he orders does not embarrass. There is firmness, yes, because security is real and protocol exists for reason. But firmness now carries respect. Authority now breathes humanity. A veteran watches from afar. It's there by coincidence. He was passing through the region. He heard the call on the radio. He stopped to see, and he saw the gesture. The gesture is familiar, not the specific gesture, but the quality of it. The way the fingers touch the shoulder, how the voice modulates between firmness and dignity. As the policeman's body communicates, "You'll be fine." The veteran acknowledges, "Because I was in that parking lot weeks ago." He was the youngest police officer, the one who learned that touch can be an instrument of security or humiliation, who chose security. The suspect, who is nervous because maybe he did something small, maybe he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, feels the difference too. Your body relaxes millimeters. His shoulders come down. Because there is a difference between being treated as a criminal and being treated as a person who is being investigated. The difference is everything. The magazine ends. "It's all right," says the officer. "You can go." Just this, no drama, just simple truth executed with respect. The suspect walks away. And as he walks, he carries with him not anger, not humiliation. He carries the understanding that there is, somewhere in this city, an authority that knows the difference between power and strength. The veteran observes all this, and he thinks of a man, the one who was pushed against the hood, the one he chose to teach rather than destroy. And he realizes that the lesson left the parking lot and entered the street. The rain falls, or maybe it's simply the night breathing. The radio reports an occurrence miles away. Someone answers, because when a man who has every right to be angry chooses to teach instead, the lesson does not die with him. It replicates itself. It becomes a method. It turns the way a young police officer, months later, touches someone's shoulder and communicates, "You're human, you matter, and I'm going to treat you as such." The camera, the one that doesn't exist, the one that only observes through the eyes of the audience, moves away. Natural light invades the parking lot, or the street, or any place where men in uniform have learned that true authority doesn't scream. He just whispers. If you like this story, leave your like and share it so that more people get inspired, and don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell to always be on top of each new video.